Hello, we're finally at the community garden. So the main garden is done, and this is where we put our overflow vegetables so that we can ensure that we have food for a year and don't have to go to the grocery store for anything. So we have a really good space this year. It's closer to our home so that we know that we'll be able to maintain it this year. So I need to get it together and start planting some of those things up so we can enjoy it later in this season. I brought all of my goodies over here. I got my little CC electric cordless drill or cordless tiller, and I have the rest of the transplants that we're going to get out here today. Now, this garden is only about 2 miles from my home, which means I'll be able to get out here more frequently. I have water just behind me here. I don't know if it's in the camera or not, but we're right in front of the water for this space. And there's a tree just behind you. So when it gets hot, I can take a break under the tree and then enjoy the shade. This whole area was tilled up several weeks ago, but then, y'all, we had flooding, we had tons of rain. Like there is a river right behind me. Actually, it's a pretty big river behind me. Just on the other side of me over here, there's a big pond. And yeah, we got 10 inches of rain over the last 3 to 4 weeks. And so we just couldn't get out here. It's just way too wet. But now the rain has stopped. We're back out here for the first time. And you can't even tell that it was tilled up. So we are going to just till the areas that we plan on using today. Don't have a lot of time. We're just going to spend just a few minutes out here. I'm going to use my CC, which did amazing in my raised bed this year. So we're going to use it to set up an area, and we're going to put this in the back. But we're going to start in the back and work on a few things. So this is not as easy as doing my raised bed that has potting mix in it, but it still beats having to take a shovel and try to loosen up this soil. I got two nice little rows back there, y'all. And the first thing that we're gonna put in those two little rows, actually, that's two pretty nice length rows compared to what we can do back at the suburban home garden. We're gonna go ahead and start some corn back there. So I'm going to plant my corn fairly close. You know, traditional planting of corn, you would say about a foot apart. I'm not doing that, y'all. I'm not doing that. My corn will be somewhere between 4 to 6 inches apart, and I'm going to have two rows pretty nicely packed together on the back side of this garden here. So that's what we're going to do next. I probably should run the tiller through there one more time for each of the rows, and I guess that's what I'll do next. Then we will start the corn. So I got the two rows together. They're not super deep, but they're just as deep as it would be if I was back at the home garden. And that's going to have to be good enough. Now we are in native soils. I'm not expecting to have the same progress that I would like I would back at the homestead because at home I've personally created the soil that we're in. I am dealing with Mother Nature here and the soil that Mother Nature has given me, and I'm just going to have to go with it. So, the two types of corn that we are going to start, yeah, really it's more like one type because I don't have much left of this other one, but I'm going to plant it anyway. We are going to grow Golden Bantam corn. And I have just a few of the candy corn. And if I look at this pack, y'all, it's telling me space the plants 6 inches apart. I told you I'm not going to do that 1 foot thing. We're going to do that 6 inch thing. So that's what we're getting ready to get into right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and plant these 2 or 3 of the candy corn, and then I'm going to go ahead and work on the Golden Bantam. And if you remember, last year I planted corn in the main garden, and yeah, the raccoons had a party, and the raccoons took all of my corn and had a feast, buffet on all of my corn. So this year, I don't think there's too many raccoons out here, but there's every other pest you wouldn't believe is going to be back here in this space. So I do expect to lose some to the animals. So you got to plant one for yourself, one for the animals, one for your neighbor, one for the birds, one for everybody, y'all. If I walk away with 1 ear of corn, it's more than I started with. That was perfect. It took every seed I had. Now we need to cover it up, and I'm gonna have to go get my hoe to do that part. So I still gotta do some of this stuff by hand. According to the seed pack, it says a 1/2 inch deep, y'all. Y'all know I'm not gonna measure that. We're gonna let this hoe decide how deep this corn's gonna be. So y'all, the corn is in. I'm starting a brand new seed starting journal that's specifically for the community garden. And that way I can keep just how much I harvest from here separate from how much we're harvesting from the main garden. So we are going to add, and I got to use this marker, y'all, because I didn't bring a pen. We're going to add corn. We're going to put today's date. And so now we've added corn to the book. One of the other things y'all know I always forget to do is mark where and what I planted. And since I'm not going to be the only one working in the community garden, I'm going to have to put tags out here so that the other folks that will come out here and help water and do those kind of things won't accidentally mess up all of the hard work that I've put in. All right, the corn is in. Let's see what else we can get planted. Now, I got corn across the back, but we're going to do something else on the sides and leave the center as one of the main walking outs. As I think about the next plant to put in, and I'm thinking about it from a height standpoint, I really don't understand the sun in this space because it's a new space to me. I just know where east and west is and which way the sun's supposed to move. I know there's not a tree in sight for days, except for the one that we're going to rest under later. So I really could put different things, different heights throughout the garden, but I prefer to put the large, tall stuff in the back and come down as we come toward the front. So the next thing that we need to get put in are our tomato plants. I have a few scrawny looking indeterminate tomato plants left from the ones we started indoors over this winter. And so we're going to make space for those scrawny little plants next. Now, I'm not going to till up a whole row. I'm just going to till up a couple of main spots so I can easily dig into the ground to plant those tomatoes. I'll finish this process and I'll bring you back and show you how we end up with the tomato plants that we have left. Since I'm at the community garden, I have a lot more space than I have when we're at home. So I spaced these plants out about 3 feet apart. I just tilled up the soil just where I wanted to put the plant, but I used the same process that I use at home. I took the tomato plants, I laid them on their side, and I covered them up. Same process that we use back home. I ended up with about 25 tomato plants in the ground along with the corn. I've already updated the seed starting journal, and y'all, I'm tired. This might be as far as we go on day one at the community garden, but we'll have to see if I can do a couple more things before I call it quits. maybe a couple places for squash, get the squash going, and then maybe I'll call it quits. Let's see what's next. I know it doesn't look like much, but we have spent about an hour and a half out here at the community garden. We've planted in quite a few things, and everything was started from seed today, except for the tomatoes. So in the back, y'all, back here, in the very, very back, y'all, we have 2 rows of corn. And then you're gonna move up into some green beans and some yellow wax beans. Then we got some heavy hitter okra. And then we move into the green and yellow summer squash. And then lining the outside of the garden, y'all, are all of the tomato transplants. Y'all, there's a lot more that I could have did, but y'all, I'm tired. I've already been in my main garden. And then we came out here for setting up the community garden. So this is day 1 at the community garden this year, and we are going to try to do a better job this year taking care of it than we did last year. I'm counting on this community garden for a few vegetables that I didn't grow in the main garden this year. So we need to take care of this so we can get that year's supply. Thanks for hanging out with me again at Kim's Cozy Corner, and I hope to see you back here again real soon. Bye.